Hey and welcome to this playthrough of the waste tunnels. So this is the beta version of this level, and you'll notice watching through this that there isn't actually that many differences when comparing this to the final retail build of the game. We'll talk about the differences when they come up, but really there's not that much here that doesn't make it over to the game that you can play. This room in particular, nothing really changes between all the versions here. I'd actually argue that the PlayStation version, which you'll see later on, makes this room a bit easier because it's actually easier to see the enemies in here. But as we come in here, this Spectre will come out there. It's a nice little trap, that, because if you're not paying attention and you just run around this corner, that'll get you from behind. If you look through that cage there, you're also teased with the plasma rifle. Although the way to get it is nowhere near here, so it's a nice little tease to make you go hunting through the level. There's these enemies up here waiting to shoot us, and we're going to shoot them before they get the chance to shoot me. This part of the level is fascinating because this is one of the areas that kind of changes as you play through the different versions. So this puzzle here is you've got to hit the switch here to open the trapdoor. So you hit this one to open the thing here. Now when you come inside here, there's a line dev that shuts the trapdoor again, and you can reopen it by hitting the switch there. What's interesting is that this makes it all the way to the original release of Doom 2. So if you played this when this came out, you would have experienced that trap. But if you play it now on the modern source ports, that line dev has been disabled, so the door doesn't constantly open and close. If you hit that third switch, you can go through to where the rocket launcher is and all that, but because we'll be doing that in the main retail release, I want to come through this way. All these zombie men here are just waiting to be shot. Again, this is pretty much one for one with the retail release. There's nothing exciting or really that different here. Even the textures are the same. What is interesting though is that red key there. It's actually hidden inside the lip of that, I guess fireplace or like entryway or waterway or whatever. The thing is that it's actually a skull key card on this level for some reason. But when we play the retail version in a minute, you'll see that it's actually on that. It's the normal red key card. So at some point, someone made the decision to take those key cards out of this level. Can't really explain why they do that. Maybe they thought it didn't fit with the theme of this level, because this isn't really a hell level, to be honest. This is very much a earth level, as you can see by all the brown dirt and sewers and such. But that's where you come through. Oh, I didn't grab the red key, did I? I think this might explain why they made the change, because they actually put the red key more in the open in the retail version, because it's actually quite easy to forget about it because it's sort of tucked away. Is there no Hell Knight here? Oh, he's there. So the Hell Knight here is actually behind the door, which isn't the best introduction, so I can kind of understand why they moved him more into the centre of the room in the retail version. So what we're going to do here, we're going to take out the imps in the middle of this courtyard here. One thing I like about this level is that you can actually come out here straight away if you really want to. There's nothing stopping you. Let's kill these imps here just so there's no surprises. But you can see this level does actually indicate skull keycards, so the original intention seems to have been for there to be skull keycards. It doesn't change the game in any way. It's just an interesting change that someone clearly decided, you know, it didn't fit. And it's the same with the yellow key card when we pick that up in a minute. I'm trying to grab the plasma gun over here. There we go. This is one of my favourite secrets in Doom 2 because it gives you the plasma rifle earlier, and honestly the plasma rifle is pretty amazing. As you can see here, there's nothing really different up to this point, but there will be a big difference in a second, and I want to see if you can spot it when it happens. So there's the yellow key card. Yeah, so interestingly, this is the first appearance of the pain elementals. Well, it would have been had the beta levels not changed, having pain elementals here is actually really interesting because they can obviously spawn in lost souls, and that changes the whole dynamic of this area because you've got to fight the spectres down here, none on this side. Oh, hello. So it is interesting, like these little change. This is one of those examples of a level that didn't change much from the beta, but they did tweak some of it, and it's clear that this was ready months ahead of time. So this level was finalized and then pretty much completed. I do like this level. I think it's really fun. I like its open approach, and I think that the fact that you can go in a number of directions at the start, even though there's only one way to really get through the level, it's nice that the game kind of gives you options. It's fun. And as you can see, there wasn't that many changes from the beta to the retail release, which is the version we're going to play here. So this is the version that you can grab on Steam, the Doom 2 WOD. It isn't the retail release because, as mentioned, they did make a change there. One thing that always used to fascinate me, so this imp trap now, actually really cool in my opinion. The only problem is that if you ever watch the demos for Doom 2, they actually kind of spoil it in that. So when you do get to this level for the first time, you know that's coming. So it kind of spoils that trap a bit, I think. As well as all the stuff I've said, like you can head out here straight away, which is what I'm going to do here. But you can also take down the chain gunners and shotgunners on the other side, which I think is really cool because it can make the end of the level a lot easier. I prefer not to leave the chain gunners walking around because they can get into a bit of mischief. Also means you can grab some extra rockets here. We can't walk back that way because it's a locked door. But as said, it is nice that you can kind of go in that direction and see what happens. This room hasn't changed at all from the beta. The imps are still as annoying as ever. I think we got that. Who took a shot there? This is exactly the same as well. So the trap there is the same, the imps are here, and there'll be another imp around here, as well as a soul sphere. Again, there's the plasma rifle. The good thing here is that when you come inside here, this is very clear what you have to do. You have to hit the switches to get out of here. As mentioned it previously, the line dev that kind of recloses that is not active now. That was released. That was removed in the first update, I think, for Doom 2. I'm going to assume that was done on player feedback. Well, on this one, we'll actually go through and we'll do the shortcut. So this actually brings you up behind the red key, so you can actually enter that room with the elevator that we were on that we saw earlier on from the other side, which I find interesting because it means you can take out all these guys a lot earlier. Do not like that. I don't like it when it changes to the rocket launcher like that. This is not the area for the rocket launcher to be changed to. If you can get over the fact that this is just a big brown level for the most part, like, it's not that bad. It's pretty fun, to be honest. Okay, so there's no more lost souls up there. So again, all these zombie men here are waiting for us. We're going to take them down. So as you can see, it's just the normal red key card on this one. I normally I wouldn't even raise that as a thing, but I just find that whole thing so fascinating. And the Hell Knight here was moved into the centre, which I think was the right call, because it's the introduction for the enemy, and if it's stuck behind the door there, it's not a great look. It kind of takes away the challenge a bit. I tried to do too much there. If I was going to do that, I had to get them with one shot, and I didn't because that was a bit foolish. we can pretty much walk out of this level now. There's nothing too exciting except for the Cacodemon trap. That's probably the last exciting. Is there anyone over here? I can hear a shotgunner walking around. I'm just kind of wondering if was in there, but obviously not. So you can see they've actually changed the key striping, so it's no longer the skull one, it's just the normal blue keycard one. So here's the Cacodemons that we know and love. I think probably this was the right choice, especially because this is level 5, and even on Ultraviolence, like they don't want to throw too much at the player this early into the game, because this is still escalating the difficulty, and they might have viewed having 3 pain elementals as a bit too much, because especially if 1 or 2 of them break free and then kind of start just launching lost souls into the room, some players may find that a bit intimidating on their first wander through here. So I can kind of understand why the pain elementals were thrown out. But that's the retail release of the Waste Tunnels, and again, really like it, really fun level. There's no point in picking between one or the other because they're practically the same level for all intents and purposes. So we'll dive into the PS1 version of this level. And so one of the reasons that I like doing these PlayStation 1 level comparisons with the PC and beta versions is because this is kind of a bit later on than the PC version. So a lot of the decisions made with this are not just on technical side, but also on the fact that like some of the things in the original Doom 2 retail didn't quite work, and so some of the level choices in this, in my opinion, which levels got cut and which levels probably, you know, did make it, are probably based on player feedback and such. But also because like it's interesting to see how these levels were interpreted onto a console that isn't that powerful. Like the original PlayStation isn't a workhorse by any means, so it's interesting to see what compromises were made to get Doom 2 to work on this. For example, here, like this is not as dark as the PC version, so it's actually quite it's a bit easier to see the imps there, because with the PlayStation versions of Doom 2 levels, you generally find that there's a lot more attention paid to the lighting and sort of making the rooms feel a bit more unique. I do need ammo here. I think this room's a bit darker as well. I think that room's a bit darker than its counterparts. So you can see this trap makes it over safely. And as you can see there, they've got rid of the cage texture, so they're using the translucent texture that pops up every now and again in this version of Doom 2. This room has the green light off the green candle there. But this trap is exactly the same as well. We'll find out here if this is if they use the updated version of Doom 2 or not. So pick up that armor. Let's grab all this ammo. So let's go. Oh yeah, I haven't actually triggered the thing here to check, have I? So you can see that opens the door and the door doesn't close. So this uses this level pulls from the more updated version of the Doom 2 WAD. So that gives you an idea of like how quickly that was removed. That trap in quotation marks, because this was released in '95. Or maybe the devs on this version just got rid of it because they thought it was a silly trap. So this is all largely the same. There's not much too exciting here to say. There's a lot of enemies down here, so it's fun having the super shotgun here. I do like that this level gives you the super shotgun pretty much straight away, because you do kind of need it. They'll shoot you. So we'll get rid of the lost souls here. So I'm going to kill all the zombie men here. You can see the red key's out in the open there, it's not tucked inside, which is interesting because the thing in there is red, so I get the feeling that like they would have put it there if they'd wanted to. It's just interesting how that key moves around ever so slightly. So the Hell Knight's in the middle again here. Wow, that imp did as a solid there. Nice. We've got the plasma rifle here. So we can head to the final part of this level here. Once we've taken care of all these imps. Forgot about these imps. Don't tell anyone. So blue lighting for the blue door there. They haven't really gone over and above on this level. They've been kind of restrained on this level with the lighting when you think about it. A lot of the areas where they probably could have used cold lighting, they've really not, and it's interesting how those decisions were made. So let's take out you over here. But overall, you can see that this level, across the different versions of Doom 2, and spoilers, it's the same on the Game Boy Advance pretty much. It's the same level. Like it's just a very consistent level across whichever version of Doom 2 you end up playing. You'll pretty much be playing the same level because let's go for the secret here. Because it's a good level. In my opinion, it's a very sound level, quite underrated, does a good job of upping the difficulty, and it offers a lot of secrets for people who are willing to go hunting. And it's nice to see that, like, no matter which console you ended up playing on, you got to experience it. But that was the waste tunnels. 3 versions of the level I've shown off here. I kind of like the PC original one on this one. I don't think the PS1 does enough with the lighting to really kind of make you go, wow, that's super different. But this was a fun level, and it's one of my more preferred Doom 2 levels overall. What's your opinion on it, and which version of the level did you like the most?